still, nice attack there. Nice hold lurker position there from Jaedong. Midas meanwhile going to get one Vulture right behind the mineral lines. No, unfortunately moved a little bit to the right, so still in range of that. Mines meanwhile going to go off, killing 2 lurkers. Oh, nice revenge. That was a nice revenge against those lurkers, against those Marines being picked off. Defilerman meanwhile on the way, and probably going to be seeing some Scourge in there. So he might actually switch up to try to go for some Midas as well, but it would be a very micro-intensive army, but Jaedong has shown many times in the past that a micro-intensive army is not something that bothers him much. Midas still going very heavy on the Vultures, going to use them, utilize them, and their higher damage-taking potential to pick some stuff up. Jaedong, meanwhile, I think he's thinking of threatening that 4 o'clock position, but a lot of mines ready. Ooh, picking off some Zerging. Some Zerging, of course, clearing up some of those mines. Most of those Zergings actually getting taken out, and Marines and Medics now ready in position to pick that off. Some Lurkers are going to come in close, but I think, especially with those Vultures in play, Midas actually might fight this off pretty well. But really liking this play. He's going very heavy on the Vultures. Very unusual in a TVZ, and I really like seeing unusual stuff. Different kind of stuff. And Midas is a player. He knows he has to do something a little bit different to pick this up. Going in with Vultures while acting as nice blockers, coming in close to these Lurkers, picking off some of them. Medic Marines also coming in from the back, scanning off locations. Mines also coming in and picking off a lot. These Vultures just massacring these Lurkers, following them all across the map, doing an absolutely magnificent job. Picking off a huge amount of Lurkers that Jaedong really needed as an attacking force. And of course, the Vultures also act as a nice counter to all those Zergings. Not going to be effective. Not going to be very effective, of course, on their Dark Swarm. Jaedong, we're going to pick up the double gas to the lower left-hand position, but still, Midas over in a very good position, going to run up to the 12 o'clock position. Huge army up there, a lot of American Marines. There is a Defiler in play. The second colony going to go down in seconds. Only some Hydras. Hydras not going to be able to really help much. If the mines manage to come off, I don't think Midas has any mines there, and the Dark Swarm come off in a very nice position. The Lurkers are going to be able to bird right on top of that, and Midas not going to be able to push this in. He does not have any siege tanks or fire beds to help him in this battle, so he's going to be forced to push back here. Some losses, but not very heavy ones. Does have 1-1 upgrades at this point. Still no sign. I just think finally getting the science facility. Where are the there's the science facility, natural expansion. Finally going to be seeing some science facilities out there. He needs those to help support. He can't also always get scans off, so he's going to need those science facilities to help him support against those Lurkers, but still putting out mines all over the place in defensive positions, also just to help him spot. So overall, doing a nice job. Finally, Jaedong, of course, being forced to use, being a bit more Hydra heavy than he might want, because those Hydras are going to be effective against the Vultures. Oh my, no, killing several Hydras there, but still, those Hydras also with Carapace 2 upgrades, by the way, and the Vultures weapons 1 upgrades. Hydras are going to be effective against the Vultures, as I say that. Even more factories being planted down by Midas. This is insane army that is going for here. 2 factories getting upgrades as well. Holy crap, he's going to need another base soon. He's going to need another base soon. He's going to want to get that. If he gets a double gas to the upper end, he's going to be able to produce a huge lot. Actually going to try to run in for the Vultures, getting some of them picked up, but still going to be able to run by. Even more getting picked up by Hydras. So huge line of Hydras there. Only a couple managed to get out this inside 9 o'clock position, try to put down some mines, but altogether not managed to accomplish too much. Actually going to pick off 1 Hydra with 2 of those mines, and even more Lurkers being morphed in. Finally, some Midas canals at the lower left-hand position. Midas canals all over the map, and Jaedong going to be able to safely take the lower left-hand. Not quite sure whether Midas has scouted that yet. Okay, never. Just to say that Vultures have run towards that position, trying to pick off some drones here and there. Vultures do get picked off, but still, at least Midas knows that position, knows that he has to try to deny that as best he can. He's still playing. I mean, Jaedong has 4 bases right now. Midas on 3. And the advantage that Jaedong has is that Jaedong has a gas over, so he's going to be able to get some nice production going. But Midas has done a decent job of fighting Jaedong back. He's done a decent amount of troop damage and utilizing those Vultures really nicely. And also keeping a pretty nice Medic Marine army up. Has a bunch of tanks at this point. Didn't even see and produces tanks. A lot of factories all over the place. Huge Medic Marine army. So this is very micro-intensive army, but this really looks like a build that Midas has thought out. Well, it really looks like a very interesting idea from him. Not as heavy on the Vultures at this point, but I still think he has some factories out there that are only producing Vultures. Jaedong, we're going to try to go for a drop at the Natural Expo. Huge amount of Overlords. We're going to see with the Midas actually has most of his army out there on the map, so this might become extremely effective. Awesome turrets coming up right now, but they're not going to be in very good position. Not a lot of anti-air. Some tanks back there are going to be able to siege up. Second turret is going to come up just in time. Dark Swarm going to come up. Meanwhile, Midas probably going to push back entirely. Going to drop across the Natural Expansion. He's going to go for the main as well. Also, some SCVs and the Lurkers there. SCVs to engage the Lurkers. Some tanks coming up on top of the ramp. Vulture is also going to blockade that. Command Center is going to get floated up, and Dark Swarm's all over the place. So at least I think the Command Center is going to get saved. but I don't think overall that it did some damage. Some SCVs picked up. Midas unfortunately going to lose one of his science vessels. Want to make sure that he doesn't do that. Actually has a troop out there being forced to focus on 2 different locations. But I think he's going to be able to clear up this position here at this natural expo pretty well. Jaedong's drop not doing as much as I think he wanted to. But still, Midas doing a fairly decent job of fighting back. He needs to go do some damage. I think he's trying to run up yet again to zerg position. No second count to defend this time. There are some lurkers there though in position. He has to be very careful. He needs some... Oh no, my god! Look at that play. I got over a control group of Marines. That is insane. Midas still desperately trying to clear up the position in the National Expo, but a huge amount of damage. Marines wants to keep them safe. A lot of the tanks getting Dark Swarm coming in very close to the tanks. Tanks are just going to stay in position, unsieging a little late. Some of them are going to get taken off. Some of them might manage. Oh, actually, he's keeping them in position here. Why is he not retreating? Oh, retreat coming in a little bit late. And oh my god, his Medic Marine's getting caught in position. Tanks coming in from the back to try to support, but Medic Marine's getting slaughtered. That plague was huge. Went for the attack, and just getting that entire army plagued was absolutely huge move there by Jaedong. Finally, that natural expansion going to get cleared up. Midas needs to pick up another base for himself. I think he's actually done so, as I say that, towards the 3 o'clock position, so I think he's picked up another base there. He's on 4 mining bases, Jaedong's 4. Jaedong's still utilizing that 4 gas as well, and Midas still going very heavy in the Vultures. Mined up all the entire area, so he knows when the Zergs come in, and he knows what mines are going to help him. Despite those overlords with speed, that their mines still going to help him a lot. Fight this back, has siege tanks all over the place as well. With armor 1 and weapons 2 upgrades, I do not often see mech forces against the Zerg this heavily upgraded. Even if it's a mech, when it's a mech build, you generally see a lot more Goliaths. But this very heavy Vulture type tank army looks more like an anti-Protoss army than anything else. And it also has some Medic Marines out there to support. Ultralisk Cameron going to come up now. Scan coming off the low left position by Midas. Jaedong has actually a few auto drones here and there, but is very heavy saturation. Well, very heavy for a Zerg player, I feel anyway. Jaedong, I think, going to try to go for the natural expansion yet again. Turret's coming up there, but is it going to be? I think it's going to be a lurker drop, and I think it's going to be successful. Going to see how successful it is. 2 lurkers going to be able to drop down. No, lurker and Defar going to get a Dark Swarm on top of that. Tank's going to be needed to come into place, or a couple of fire bats to pick off that lurker. Lurker's heavily damaged, so he's actually going to go down. And was that a Commancer? I don't think that was a Commancer. I think it was my eBay or something. I'm not altogether sure. There was a floating building and it died. That's all I know. Midas, despite that one large loss there, one Scourge does hit the science vessel, but of course that's not quite enough. But still wants to be very careful to keep those science vessels. Does not have a very large science vessel count. Doesn't really seem like he's been irradiating much. Says of some science vessel here back home, but it hasn't been irradiating much. It does have a lot of Goliaths at this point. I'm wondering whether he's actually completely transitioned to mech at this point, because I don't see any of his barracks anywhere. I think he just floated them across the entire map to act as spotters, and not altogether too sure. Mutalisks now coming into play as well for Jaedong. I still think he's working upgrades for the ultra before trying to do anything. Midas going to try to pick up the upper right hand for him, Jaedong going to force a cancel on that. And just going to be able to cancel that completely out. Scourge not going to be able to land. Oh, actually, Scourge did manage quite to land, but not quite managed to pick off the science vessel. Almost managed to do that. Jaedong Mimo is going to be able to clear up the upper hand position. And Midas has completely switched over to mech at this point. Very interesting, very interesting. Like, those barracks are just floating around, acting as spotters all over the place. But definitely a very interesting build here from Midas. Now, of course, he's being forced to give up some of his maneuverability. His Vulture at the point his own maneuverability. Oh man, getting huge tank line of his getting caught, being forced to unsiege. There's a lot of Vultures going to come in. What are they going to do? No Goliaths in place, no anti-air, no irradiates. Oh god, look at those tanks just die. Finally irradiated going down amidst those Mutalisks, but that's going to get cleared up pretty well. And no Goliaths in play. Where are those Goliaths? Dear lordy. I think Jaedong just slowly but surely getting control of this map because getting control of this match because he has picked up the inside 9 o'clock for himself. Finally going to get pushed back there, but picked off a lot of those tanks, which are so crucial. Vultures cannot engage Hydras by themselves. They need the support of heavy damage splash dealing tanks, especially when there's Defilers in play. You definitely do not want the support. They are going to be able to fight off these Hydras here with CV support and Goliath support just because they have a superior number. But overall, if you have a huge amount of Hydras and a good Zerg player utilizing them, you want to be able to get very careful. So this is a very insane, awesome macro TVZ. Seriously, I've been complaining about this how stale TVZ is these days. It's always